Well, I'm back at it again. It's your boy, man. It's the voice of the culture, and I'm here today. I'm out in Long Island with a very special young lady. I'm gonna say special. She's been so special to the community, just serving out love, and in a way that comes in a matter of not just generally just giving it to you, but also baking it to you. You know what I mean? So today I have the opportunity to sit down with the bake queen herself, simply Secunda. And we're going to talk a little bit about life and the journey of these pies that she has to offer to the world. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and welcome to the roundtable, love. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamik. I salute you for your platform. I am so excited to be here. We have been going back and forth in conversation, talking about doing this for how long now?
About a month.
About a month.
Shout out to your cousin Teese.
Yes, shout out to my cousin Martise.
Chop Shop. This is where all this is.
Absolutely.
This came from. This was a birth of that. And it just goes to show you how, piggy banking and family and love and just communication, here we are today in Long Island.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
it is a pleasure. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the star of the show.
The pies.
The sweet potato pies, right?
Let's start with the essence, though.
Let's start with the essence. Well, the essence really began many moons ago with my mom. My mom is the ultimate inspiration behind these pies.
Okay.
Truly. So shout out to my mom, Tempe
Shout out
Anderson.
to moms.
Right? She's the real GOAT.
As she is.
She's the real GOAT. And as they say, I get it from my mama. I truly get it from my mama.
Exactly.
So growing up, I was always my mom's little shadow, so to speak.
Where are you guys from?
From Queens, from Cambridge Heights, Queens, 227th Street. And so many memories I can think of. Growing up, my brother and my sisters in a very wonderful neighborhood in Cambridge Heights, Queens. And I always was in the kitchen, always behind my mom, doing everything that she did. My mom was truly and still is a domestic goddess. And she always threw down in the kitchen. And one of her things that she would make, which has become a huge part of my family tradition, was sweet potato pies.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it all started in the pandemic. I just honestly had one of those light bulb moments. I think that the pandemic brought out a lot of different things, right?
For a lot of different people.
For a lot of different people, for all of us. And one of the things it did for me was it truly inspired me.
Okay.
It inspired me, and I just had one of those moments where I decided that I wanted to not only sell my mom's pies, but I wanted to really recreate the recipe, make it my own, put my own black girl magic on it.
As you should.
As I should, and work with the recipe and actually make an amazing product. And this is, what you see here.
Right.
Simply Secunda's Pies.
So let me ask you this. Let's go back a little bit. You're a young lady growing up in a house. Mom's is a domestic queen.
Right.
Where did she get the recipe from?
That is a really good question. I don't know. I have to ask her.
Okay.
I'll have to ask her. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask her that today. I have no idea where she got it from.
Okay, well, it had to start somewhere.
It started from somewhere.
Because you put your own black girl magic on it now in the 2024, 2020 era, so I'm quite sure this was passed on from
somewhere.
Somewhere.
You know what? Note to self. Call my mom and ask her, Mom, where did you get the idea, or the recipe from, I should say?
Now, where's your mother originally from?
She's from here.
Okay, so
she's
she's
from
a New
here.
Yorker.
New Yorker, native New Yorker,
native
my whole
New
family. Born and raised in New York, yep.
You know what, that comes, New York brings out the hustle, the bustle.
I agree.
It brings out, the grit, the grime. It brings out the passion, it brings out love.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say this because that passion and love was in the kitchen with you and your mother.
It really was, and for me, it started at a very young age. I learned all about food and cooking from my mom. Like I said earlier, I was underneath my mom all the time. She used to call me her Velcro baby because I was very, very attached to my mom. And of course, my mom was in the kitchen all the time. So I was in the kitchen all the time, basically her little kitchen assistant.
Right.
And I picked up my love for cooking from my mom. Even to this day, it is one of my most favorite things to do.
Yeah, I see you
It
very
really
passionate
is.
about
I
it.
love cooking.
Let me ask you this: what were some of the main dishes your mother would love that you would love your mother to chef up when y'all were growing up?
Oh man, so I don't know if you caught it, but recently I did a post about, some of those good old fashioned throwback meals, right? Chicken and waffles.
I commented about that.
Chicken and waffles, right. Well, you know what?
You bought the pies.
I bought the pies. Listen, I would like nothing better than to be in the chicken, making some fried chicken, making some waffles. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Of course, if I'm making it, we're definitely going to have some mimosas with it, right?
Of course.
Of course, no doubt. But yeah, chicken and waffles, I would say. Definitely the homemade sweet potato pie. Gosh, what else? What are some other meals that she would make? Macaroni and cheese.
Of course, the essence.
The collard greens. My dad would always love black-eyed peas. And one of my other favorite ones is homemade cornbread. Gotta have that Southern style cornbread.
That's definitely a must.
Yeah.
That's in all households.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving for you guys was healthy.
So, extremely healthy. As a matter of fact, so healthy we would all have the itis, right?
Right.
You were definitely looking for a nap at the kitchen table, at the table when you are done with one of those family meals. But, growing up in my household, my dad was and still is to this day an avid music lover. So I grew up listening to all of the legendary, greats. So Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Roberta Flack, Ashford and Simpson. I'm aging myself, but that's okay. We're going to keep it real.
Black Girl Magic.
Black Girl Magic, okay? And not only did my dad just play music, I'm talking about it was loud music. So let me set the scene for you. So my mom would be cooking in the kitchen, throwing down, making her fried chicken and waffles, right? And then my dad would be playing music. And my house was really just a vibe. And as an adult, I don't think that we realize how much our childhood and our parents really play into our adult lives. Can I tell you, my playlist is insane when I'm cooking at home, especially when I'm making these pies.
Right.
Oh, listen, I'm listening to Donny Hathaway. I'm listening to Charlie Wilson. I'm listening to all of my favorite music. Luther Vandross, Shaka Khan. So, yeah. And that's what makes the pies taste so good.
Right.
It's between the essence, the playlist, and the love.
The passion.
Right?
The
exactly.
memories.
The memories.
The memories, because I'm quite sure you're in the kitchen, you're going back.
Oh, my God.
To when you was a little young lady.
Listen, when I was a little young lady, and every time I make my pies, I always think about my mom. It truly transports me in time. Seriously.
Right.
And I was sharing with my cousin Martise, and I tell him all the time, I was like, man, do you remember my mom? Literally, because we lived in Queens, like I said. So my mom would make these massive pies, and we would drive in the car from Queens to Jersey. Right? Now, that's about a 45-minute to an hour drive. The entire car, when I tell you, Shamik, no lie, would smell like sweet potato pie.
Clothes and everything.
Clothes, everybody. You open a car door and listen, we smell like sweet potato pie. And when we would finally get to my aunt's house, who would typically be hosting, Thanksgiving, when it came to dessert time, my mom would put the pies on the table, and boy, my family would be fighting over the pies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking figuratively. Literally fighting over the
pie. But they knew who were bringing the pies, though.
But they knew. My mom, Aunt Tempe is, what they call her. Aunt Tempe is coming through the pies. And look at now, to present day, look at me. Now I'm making
coming
pies.
Through with the pies.
Yeah. So, at no point would I've ever believed that I would have been, continuing my family's legacy. And it's been such a huge part of my family tradition. And I can't tell you it just brings me, honestly, so much joy.
I can tell.
And it
when
just
we talk about
warms
it,
my heart.
You're so vibrant about it as we talk about
it. Definitely.
And it shows a lot of love there, too.
Yeah.
It also lets me know you come from a loving home.
Oh, definitely.
A lot of love was in that home.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And that's growing up. That means everything. I mean, these kids don't understand that now. Love was simple back then.
It was very simple.
Now,
right?
growing up, me being a father, it's a little bit more, it's more texting.
Right.
It's, you know, you're in the next room and you're texting me. As far as you and I know, we had to, mom, physically have conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes that physical conversation, you saw the love, you saw the conversation, you saw the joy come out of parents. So I know with you in the kitchen with your mother, the music's going, she's singing. After a long week, Pops is vibing, your brothers and sisters, I know the whole...
Running through the house, the whole 9 yards, right?
And Thanksgiving, the anticipation from all the other family members.
Oh, definitely.
What you guys were bringing.
Yeah.
They couldn't wait.
Right. And that's the number one question, you know. I think that the questions that, as Black people that, within our culture, it's like, all right, I need to know 3 things. Who's making the macaroni and cheese? Who's bringing the sweet potato pie? Who's making the turkey? And who's making the potato salad?
Exactly.
Right?
And we have to have a checklist.
We need a checklist.
Who's not going to make what?
Right. And that, and that has a lot to do with whether or not we're going to show up, right? Because we need to know who's making the food.
Exactly. So you already know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me take you back to the pandemic now.
Of course.
You're home, you're relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Before the pandemic, was you doing anything with the pies or you just keeping it real simple and easy?
I was doing something with the pies, but I was making it for my friends and my family.
Okay.
And of course, I was making it for my soon-to-be husband.
Okay.
So he did a lot of the recipe testing, and I developed the recipe over time. So prior to the pandemic, I was working on the recipe at that point, not knowing that I had, an idea of, oh, I'm going to make these pies and sell it. I was just working on my recipe.
That's it.
At the time.
Never thought about branding, never thought about opening up a location, just basically the simple recipe for the food.
Yeah, I wanted to, and I'll just take you back a little bit. I can remember one Thanksgiving, I'm in the kitchen and I'm talking to my significant other, Terrence, and I'm like, babe, I really could use some of my mom's homemade sweet potato pie. And I was like, Dad, I should try to make it. Because my parents now, they live in North Carolina.
Right.
And I was like, I don't have the luxury of just, popping by mom and dad's and getting a pie. So I had to figure out how to make it. So I'm in the kitchen trying to, write down all my ingredients and trying to perfect this.
Call?
I did. And she gave me like the framework of it.
Okay.
But there's always a little magic sauce that, they're not going to tell you.
Exactly.
Mom ain't going to tell you about.
She's not going to pass you that.
Right. She's not going to pass that down. But I remember what she said. She said, listen, do the best you can with the recipe. It'll happen.
It'll do it
Just
itself.
keep working on it. And I kept working on it. And I got it to a point where I felt like it was amazing. Very, very close to my mom's pie. And that's really how it all started.
Okay.
With the recipe. Yeah.
But you journeyed out to just do more than just pies. You also dipped into the vegan world with that as well.
Right.
So how did that recipe come about if you were still figuring out, or you figured out one recipe first and then you kind of branched off?
Right. So I figured out the master recipe, right, which is the traditional Southern sweet potato pie. And then I said to myself, if I'm going to sell it, I have to make sure that I cover everybody. Because a lot of times I feel like, and this is coming from a person that cooks, right?
Right.
From that perspective, what tends to happen is that there's nothing ever on the table for the vegans.
Right.
So whenever I'm cooking, I always want to include them, right?
Right.
And then in addition to making sure that we had something amazing for the vegan, for the vegan people, or even for people that just want to take a break from the dairy and try something different as an alternative, I wanted to create something that had a little razzle-dazzle to it, so to speak. So now I have the traditional sweet potato pie, which everybody loves, right, that we're accustomed to. And I have the vegan pie, but I also have the rum pie. So those are 3 completely different recipes.
Okay.
And I wanted to have a lot of options for people and just kind of reimagine and rethink the way that we eat sweet potato pie.
Right. Now let me ask you this. Was your mom using the rum?
No, she was not.
Okay. I had to ask. Sometimes, our parents sprinkle their own little...
little magic in it, right?
Exactly.
No, Mom was not using the rum. She was straight up and down, classic, traditional sweet potato pie. That's what it is.
So what's the basic ingredients going into this?
The basic ingredient is...
Let's start with the basics.
The basic, okay. So the basic is 100% fresh sweet potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, from the ground, sweet potatoes from the ground. So I take those sweet potatoes and I roast them and bring out all of that amazing caramelization and sweetness. Peel those potatoes, and that's the base of our recipe. It's sweet potatoes. That's it.
Okay.
And what makes it taste so good is that it's authentic.
Right.
It's authentic. And I think that when you use quality ingredients, you cannot go wrong.
Right.
You
That's the
cannot go
importance.
wrong. And it's a very simple recipe, which I will keep in
As you should.
in the family secret.
As you should. Because
As I
anything after
should.
that, listen, they just got to
Right.
purchase it.
You just have to purchase it. And let me just have a honest moment. There's a lot of people that make sweet potato pie, but I do think that everybody's pie comes out differently because it's really all about the person that's making it.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm not the only one that's making sweet potato pie. And, I always tell people that, you buy what you're led to buy. Simple. I'm not pushing pies on anybody.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you want the pie is here, 100% made from scratch, homemade pie. You can't go wrong with it.
And let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Oh, God, I'm in the hot seat. I need a fan.
What makes your pie special?
Oh, what makes my pie special?
What makes your pie the pie? Because I saw you last week out making deliveries,
Right.
which and I saw that you post. But what I saw most is the
Right.
reposts from individuals that's supporting you, that's representing your brand. And I said to myself, wow, that means that pie got to be doing something. So when I sit down with her, I need to know what makes her pie special.
Right. Okay. So so you want to know my perspective?
Your perspective, not anybody else's.
Okay.
Your perspective.
My
because
perspective.
Your
Okay.
perspective is the brand.
Right, is a brand. Well, I think, I'm going to answer that question. I think there's layers to that question.
And that's why
so
I asked you the question.
let's peel back
peel
the
back a little
layers,
bit.
right? So I think, for one, my pies are really made with love, and I think it really goes back to the intention of the pies. So the intention for me is to create a product, not just to sell it, but I wanted to specifically create a product specifically geared towards my people, which is the African American community, right? I wanted to create something that was homemade, that was not commercialized, that I had complete and total control over in my kitchen, picking the sweet potatoes, cooking the sweet potatoes myself, peeling the sweet potatoes, and selecting all of the best premier ingredients.
Okay.
I'm not skipping on any of my ingredients. Everything is 100% natural, and it's the best ingredients that you can get. So, of course, when people, talk about their ingredients in sweet potato pie, right? We talk about the cinnamon. We talk about the nutmeg, and that's just the basic framework for the sweet potato pie recipe. I'm using the best nutmeg. I'm using the best vanilla.
Right.
And I'll give you a little secret. And what the vanilla that I use happens to be vanilla that's from a very amazing place. I'll leave it at that.
That's the secret.
Right. So that's the secret. So I take a lot of pride. My ingredients are, they cost a pretty penny, so to speak, but I think that you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And I also think what makes a pie special is everything is made from scratch. I pray over every pie I make, and that's not figurative, that's literal. When I get in that kitchen, the mood has to be right. The tone of my home, I'm a home baker, the tone has to be right. I make sure that my motives and my intention are complete in alignment with my hands. I ask God to touch my hands.
Your hands.
Yeah, because what I'm really doing is I'm really creating something. And I know a lot of people don't look at it like that, but this is really deep. You have to really think about people that are preparing your food.
Exactly.
And the energy and the
goes
intention
into that.
That goes into it, right? And I take my time with my food. I make sure that my environment is very hygienic and very cleanly. And the recipe. So I'm just going back to, you asked me what makes my pie special. The recipe. The recipe was strategically created. One thing I can say about baking. Baking is very precise, specific measurements. I mean, I'm literally in my kitchen like a scientist.
Right.
A pinch of this, a pinch of that. You know, I lay out all of my tools that I'm going to use, all of my measuring cups, all my measuring spoons. And it really is a beautiful orchestration of magic in the kitchen. Yeah, so that's what makes my pie specials. And on top of that, my customer service. So my mantra is treat people like you would want to be treated.
Exactly.
I value my customers. Every person that reaches out to me, that even inquires about the pie, to the person that purchases the pie, I'm thankful, I'm grateful for those individuals because they don't have to buy my pie.
Right.
Right?
It's a million sweet potato pies.
It's a million sweet potato pies.
I mean, you can cook one in the kitchen.
You can cook one. You can go home and make your own.
Right.
Right? So that's what makes it special. And of course, my belief is no one can do what you do because every individual has a unique contribution, right? That unique footprint that God gives each and every one of us.
That stamp.
So did I answer your question?
Yeah. Listen,
okay.
My question was answered a while ago. You know, you were just flowing, so I just let you do your thing because at the end of the day, I felt like with baking, with cooking, you know, we as black folks, we love to go somewhere and eat.
We do.
We love, you know, even to the point where we'll sacrifice what we're eating to go somewhere else, and we should always follow our first thought. But when you're preparing this food, you have to, you know, I realize sometimes, and I'm no disrespect to any other culture, but I've been to other cultural restaurants, I'm not gonna call out the names, and the service, the customer service is terrible, and it make me walk right out.
Yeah, it does.
Because if you're treating me like this person behind the back is just here because they just got a job to do. I don't want you to just cook my food because you have a job to do. I want you to cook my food because you love what you're doing.
Right, and there's a big difference, and that's such a great point, right? And that's important when when you approach where am I going to eat? Because you don't want somebody just to, serve you or cook your food as if it's just a job. There's a difference between people actually being passionate about what they do versus
a job.
I'm just doing what I got to do because I got to get this paycheck.
And that means you're going to half-ass, you're going to cut corners.
Yep.
Out of those 10 pies, you're probably going to do 3 of them right, and the other 7 going to have a little this and a little that because you realize you can cut corners.
Right. And there's no service with a smile. You could forget about that.
No, it's no service. It's all just... another pie.
Very robotic exchange.
And very, I'm going to say this, fake.
Very fake.
Because it's not authentic. It's just something that we just doing just because.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that you said that you're not doing this to get rich.
No, not at all.
You're not trying to start your bakery. You're just really doing this for love. So how does the love stay there for baking when you're not really focused on taking it to the next level?
Right. So, I mean, for me, so this is not my primary source of income.
I know that.
Right. Okay. I do a lot of other different things. But this is my baby. This is my passion. I think that for me, staying motivated, staying inspired, definitely staying connected with my creator.
Right.
Helps me to continue to do what I do. And it's also, I get very energized from my customers. I have a lot of loyal customers and they are always ordering. I'm baking pretty much every day.
Wow.
So they keep me going.
How does that fit in with your schedule? Because it's now you're transforming yourself. You're doing this. Now I got to transform over to the cook. Like, how does this, I mean, I don't want to call you Superman, so I'm going to call you Lois Lane.
Right. Okay, how do I get my Lois Lane on?
Right. Like, how does that, and you're still being a fiance at the same time.
Right, exactly.
So you're juggling these things.
Managing it all.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you switch that on and off switch like that? Because you say you're putting passion into this.
Yeah.
And you could be having an off day on this side of the field.
Right.
But now we got to get over to this side of the field because we have these other individuals that don't know anything about happening over here. They don't really care about what happened over here.
And they don't necessarily need to know, because it's like, I'm ordering pie. I don't need to know what you're doing over here. Just make sure if I order my pie, I want my pie.
And I want that same energy.
And I want that same
energy
and that same passion, that same level of service, right?
Exactly. So how do you maintain that?
Well, I do have. Let me say this, and this is I'm being extremely honest and transparent. I would not be able to do what I do without my support system, and my fiance is extremely, extremely supportive. And I also refer to him as my business partner too.
That's good.
So we're in it together. It's a team effort.
Right.
He helps me with a lot.
So he's your shadow.
I want to say he's my right hand.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. And, I wouldn't be able to do all of this if I didn't have that foundational support system. But I also think that one thing that helps me is I have to be organized. Okay. So staying organized is the key to all of this. And just the drive. Keeping my drive. And the very important thing with all of this, and I think, and this is just a really good life point in general, when I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, because listen, we're human, right? We're juggling all the things, right? We're lifing, and even when life is lifing, I just take a moment and I remember, Secunda, remember your why. Remember your why. So that always brings me back to center.
Okay.
It brings me back to that moment when we were in the pandemic and I decided to bake the pies. And I had got a phone call from a very good friend of mine, and she said, Secunda, there's some people in a chat room that's asking, not in a chat room, in a community group,
right,
that's asking about pies. And she said, I think you should join this group. And I wanted to give a special thanks during this interview. I wanted to give a special thanks to the Black Resource Network, who has been a phenomenal support system for me and so many others in our community. They really are a true resource, and they connect the community together.
And this is just all women, or is it men involved?
Men involved too.
Okay, that's great.
There's thousands of people that are a part of this network.
And what exactly? Let's talk about the network for a little bit, because
Black
we
Resource
talked about
Network
that.
Group.
Yeah. That group represents Black entrepreneurs.
Correct. It represents community. It represents a supportive foundation. Aaliyah is the visionary behind it, and I was fortunate enough to become a member. And like I said, a friend of mine said, hey, I know you're selling your pies for the holiday. Join the Black Resource Network group and just let them know that you're out here. And honestly, what they do, literally, in the most simplistic, basic form, they connect people. And I posted in the group, in the chat, right? Made a post. And all of a sudden, a world of people were opened up to me that I had access to that didn't even know that I existed. And we're talking about during the pandemic, when we couldn't even get basic stuff. Paper towels,
right?
Stuff like that, the things that we needed. So you can remember back in that time, we could hardly find, masks, any PPE stuff, right? Hand sanitizer. I mean, that was far and few in between, right? Exactly. We couldn't even go to the store and find it, let alone a sweet potato pie during the holiday, right? So it was a perfect timing to introduce my mom's pies. So saying all that to say is that I put a post in the chat, and there were so many people that responded and said, oh my God, I live a few blocks from you. I would like to order a pie. Oh my goodness, my son is coming home from college. I would like to order a pie. Oh my goodness, my husband loves sweet potato pie. We were thinking about having our family over who we haven't seen or we weren't able to give a hug to, one another. Now that I found the sweet potato pie, This is amazing. I can think about entertaining. So this one light bulb moment for me to decide to make my mom's sweet potato pie has created such a ripple effect in this community and has caused such an unimaginable impact. It is just
It's a blessing.
mind-blowing to me.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
It's truly a blessing.
It's a
I
blessing.
believe God works in mysterious ways.
He does.
But in the right way.
In the right way.
You know what I mean? Because the
right way.
pandemic hit, a lot of people are not really moving and grooving. And here you
Right.
are with just a pie that's, people say, oh, it's just a pie. But during that time, it was more than just a pie.
Oh, it was more than just a pie.
It was bigger
This
than...
was a lifeline.
Exactly.
This was hope.
It was hope. It was happiness.
It was hope. It was happiness. It was comfort. It was soul
love.
food.
It was love. It
was
brought
love.
people together.
It brought people together. And also, I just wanted to add that during that time, remember, all this just started with an idea. I said, wow, I'm going to sell my mom's sweet potato pie. You know, I wanted to give some, make a quality pie and offer it and see who wants to purchase it. This is what I want to do to help my community and help us all heal, right? And give us some hope, give us some love, give us a part of our, Black culture, right? Because you can, as a Black man, I'm sure when you're watching all of this stuff happen, George Floyd, not being able to see family, not being able to hug a loved one, the grocery store ends up becoming like this huge outing because we can't leave the house.
Right.
We're working from home. We're going stir crazy in the house. We're looking at CNN and all these things are happening and it's stirring up so many different emotions. We don't even know whether we're coming or going.
Exactly, you're right.
Right? So when we have someone that is offering something that we can relate to and connect to, it's like, wow, this is amazing.
Especially at an awkward time.
And an awkward time where it's most needed.
Exactly.
Right? So, what an incredible time.
You know what? It's funny you said that.
What an incredible time.
Because that time is timeless.
Timeless.
We always remember that time.
Yeah, historical.
Exactly. But your pies came into a time where, do you think it would have hit as hard if the pandemic wouldn't have happened?
Well,
because everybody was kind of stuck. Let's just be honest. We're in the house.
Stuck and paying attention.
Right.
Stuck and paying attention.
So, it's kind of like we was forced to eat.
Right.
Because you got to go grab what you got to grab.
And not only forced to eat, but forced to cook.
Exactly.
Because everything was shut down.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, and then you get tired of cooking the same old, same old.
Tired of cooking the same old, same old.
So you want a little something different and they have an opportunity. Word travels.
Right.
So that's what I mean. I believe the pandemic for these pies.
For this specific, right.
I think it hit harder.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion.
Your personal opinion. Okay.
I feel like it hit harder because you had to sit still.
Right.
More as you just hustling, bustling, and you going and you moving.
Right.
You may not be paying attention to that pie.
Right. You might go to Magnolia Bakery and get you a pie.
Exactly, right? Because of the access
or wherever.
Wherever. Or you might just feel like saying, hey, exactly, I'm going to go to the local store and cook
the
one.
Local store and cook one.
But your pies came in a time of crisis.
Yeah, in a time of crisis, yes.
Did you ever think about that?
I thought about it, that it was the perfect timing for it. And I'm just so happy that I reacted, and no, not reacted, because there's a big difference between reacted and responded. I'm happy that I was paying attention enough to respond to a need during crisis.
Right.
Because this really was a response to a need in crisis. But here's a deeper question, right?
Okay.
I don't know if I would have done this if we were not in pandemic.
You wouldn't have done it.
I don't know.
I don't.
Because I was really running from pillar to post, like we all were. I was going into, I was working 5 days a week.
Okay.
Right, commuting, going to my amazing job in the city, commuting from Queens to Manhattan.
Okay.
And I don't know. So I also think too, I needed to sit down.
A lot of us need to sit down.
I needed to have several seats, right? So that I could really, have some divine direction. And I'll leave it at that.
Right.
Because sometimes if we're running around too much or if we're too busy, we really can't hear that divine direction.
Exactly.
So.
But also the most important part is that being that you connected with the Lord.
Very much so.
Your heart and your mind was open to receive what God had for you.
Correct.
And he anointed you with that.
Correct.
And you ran with that.
Correct.
As far as you sitting, being so busy like the rest of us,
right?
Like you said, we couldn't really get the clear understanding of what we needed to do. That's why I said this was a need.
In the moment.
It was a need.
For a specific time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but that time will never be. It's timeless.
Yeah, it's timeless, and it really is a part of. And this is why these pies mean so much to me. I'm so connected to this pie on so many different levels, like on an emotional level. I understood that the pies were really a vehicle for the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Right.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Outside of pies, we talked about you do drinks, you do a little cocktailing.
I do.
Let's talk about some good cocktails. Let's talk about a few good cocktails that can go great with the pies.
Right. So I'm a huge coffee connoisseur. I love coffee. And not just, coffee just for the sake of drinking it, but I love, the global world of coffee. So that is one of my very favorite things to do.
Never thought about starting your own coffee line?
No, I have not, but that might be an idea.
You should.
Right, let me meditate on that.
Yeah.
I might have a coffee idea that maybe I can introduce with my pies, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so an espresso cocktail would go really nice with this.
Okay.
Also a lovely glass of Prosecco, nothing flavored, just very, very clean flavors.
Okay.
I think the flavor profile with the pie would match nicely with maybe a nice glass of Prosecco, maybe a piece of fresh fruit, maybe some strawberries garnished with the glass.
Okay.
And also just coffee, maybe a black cup of coffee kind of to cleanse your palate would go nicely with this too, and it'd bring out all the flavors in the pie.
What about with the rum pie?
Oh, the rum pie. Oh my goodness. What do I drink with the rum pie? The rum pie, I drink coffee with the rum pie. And the reason why is because all of the notes of the rum, right? Because think about it. Think about all of the ingredients with the rum pie. You got your rum.
Yep.
You have butter. You have two different types of sugar. So you have white sugar, you got brown sugar, you got vanilla, you got cinnamon, you got nutmeg, right? And then combine that with the rum and the coffee creamer.
It's a marriage.
It's a marriage. It's a match made in heaven. It's a whole party. That's the perfect combination. Now, what I do like to do is I like to make homemade fresh whipped cream.
Okay.
To go with that. So you can have that on top of your pie or you can put that in your coffee, right? A little bit of sugar on top. It's perfect. So you have a combination of dessert and an after dinner drink as well.
So why don't we just start pushing forward towards this coffee brand? Because you just gave us a complete rundown of what you need,
Right.
Let's make the marriage complete. This is the baby.
Right.
It needs a signature partner.
It needs a companion,
exactly.
right?
We don't want to be the only child.
Right.
The pie don't want to be the only child now. The coffee might hey, I need somebody to play with.
Listen, you're giving me a whole nother lane down. Okay, let's look into it.
You just broke it down. That's why I gave you, I asked you that question to see, where you were at with it.
Yeah, and I love coffee. So my fiance and I, we have done quite a bit of traveling, and we went I think it was maybe 2 years ago, so I can't remember. We traveled to, I can't remember. So sorry, it escapes me where we went, but we traveled and we've tried some really amazing coffee overseas. And that's my thing. Like, I love to try different coffee beans because, the different, wherever you are, the coffee tastes different. It's just like wine because of the different regions. And everything is just like a new experience because of the culture and how the weather affects the soil and all of that. So
it all works. It all works.
Yeah.
5 years from now, where are these pies at?
I'm back in the hot seat, I see.
5 years from now, where are these pies? What's your vision on these pies?
My vision on these pies, my goodness. Well, I will say this.
And you can be, please, let's be very honest.
I am going to be very honest.
There's no such thing as, I don't want to go there. I want you to be 5 years from now.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think, you know what? I honestly think with me, I think that it has to unfold. Right now, I am receiving direction and I'm really thinking about my vision for it because, in all honesty, this was something that I did initially for the pandemic. I had no idea that these pies were going to still be in demand. And this was 3 years ago, right? I said, I'm going to bake for the pandemic. And here we are, fast forward to 3 years later. And people are still asking for the pies. So saying all that to say, I'm a little surprised by all this.
That's why I say 5 years from now, because the pandemic is...
Right, gone, right? Pandemic's in the rearview mirror, right?
And just last week you were doing drops.
Right. So one thing I will say this, it's evolving. My vision for my pies is definitely evolving. I don't want it to be in, let's say, in stores where I don't have control of the quality.
Okay.
Right? Because the beauty of it is that I'm making them. I'm in control of the quality. I'm in control of the recipe. I'm in control of making sure that each pie is exquisite. And my decision to have these pies, to be in other spaces and places will be contingent upon the quality, how I can control the quality. Because the quality and the customer service is key to me. I would like to see it in some Black-owned restaurants, Black-owned cafes. I want to stay connected to the community and to the people that really have appreciation level for the pies.
You want to keep the essence.
Absolutely, because it's all about that for me. I want to keep the roots of these pies to be organic and authentic.
So every year, do you do a vision board for the pies?
I wouldn't say I necessarily do a vision board per se, but I do have a vision every year. And it continues to
grow,
elevate and grow. Yeah. Year 3, we sold out Thanksgiving and Christmas. And the demand continues every single day to skyrocket.
Last week you were doing deliveries.
Last week I was doing deliveries, which I love to do, by the way.
Yeah, I like to see you hands-on. I really respect that. Instead of having someone else, I like the fact that you were very hands-on.
Right.
And you kind of let your people know where you're going, what we're doing.
Yes.
And the people can see you.
Yes.
I want to touch on this before we close out.
Sure.
How important is it for the culture to know you, the woman?
To know me.
And not just the cake, just the pie.
Just the pies. I think for me, it is, and this is just, I'm speaking, for me.
Please.
For me, it's really important that the culture, the people understand who I am, right? To be able to connect to me. I think that's very important to get to know the person behind the brand. Because if you see the sweet potato pie, I think as a consumer, right, a consumer's perspective is like, why do I need to buy this? Well, who is this? Who is this person? There's a million sweet potato pies. But I think what is happening now with our culture, and I'm so thankful for it, is that we've moved from let me purchase, and now it's more, let me get to know this person. Let me connect to the owner behind the brand. Let me hear her story. Let me learn more about that and where it came from and, what the origin is from it.
Right.
So for me, I want people to get to know me, I am extremely connected on so many levels to this brand, to this pie, not only when you order a Simply Secunda sweet potato pie. I'd like people to understand and know the history, right? To understand that this pie is truly handmade with love. I speak to every single customer that orders a pie. As a matter of fact, I got a message from a young lady yesterday, and she was absolutely amazing. She was a couple of minutes from my house, and we had a wonderful conversation. I told her about my brand and how it all started, and she ordered pies from me, and I delivered those pies myself, personally delivered those pies. And it's important for me to give impeccable customer service and to make sure that I'm involved in every part of the process.
That's very important.
Right? From beginning to end.
Exactly.
Right. So this is not, you hear that term money grab, a money maker.
Yeah, it's just a quick money grab.
Right. No, I'm not about that. I've never been about that. My fiance makes sure that I'm very well taken care of.
Shout out to him and his support too.
Shout out to Terrence.
Shout out to Terrence, man. I really, 'cause that's major right now, though.
Yeah.
Supporting your partner.
Yes.
Because a lot of couples, individuals don't support.
No.
They just, you just doing that, okay.
No.
And then it's like, where's my partner at? Where's my backbone?
Yeah, he's, and he has, and that really stems from he has extremely good values.
And he wants to see his lady win.
And he wants to see his lady win, right? So he's going to do everything within his power to support me. He takes some of the customer phone calls. He delivers pies when I can't. He goes out and gets, the pounds of sweet potatoes for me. He's in the kitchen with me late night. People don't get to see a lot of the things behind the scenes, but in order for me to do what I do, he has to be holding me down and keeping my mind right.
Exactly.
Right? So shout out to you, baby.
Shout out to the king, man. Right, that's definitely important.
Shout out to the king.
Because
yeah, he is.
Community and love. I was talking to my father the other day, and he said something to me about love. He said, listen, man, sometimes you got to love from a distance, sometimes you can love up close. But as long as you love.
Yes.
And the fact that now we just was finished talking about Terrence, I saw that glow in your eye talking about that. But I also saw the love and support and that gratitude that you have for him.
Yes, yeah.
That pushes you to the next level. And
It
he's not
does.
afraid to see you. This thing could go bigger than what it really planned on can be. And he's not afraid to say, hey, you already out there and I'm just back here. No, babe, I want you to go as further as you can. I'm here. I'm waving. I'm running behind you.
Absolutely.
I'm your biggest fan. And that, I believe his support gives you a little extra boost.
It does. It definitely does. It absolutely does. His support is phenomenal. And that is, that's the key. That's absolutely
I
the key.
believe as a couple, the support is not just always about giving you the money to do what needs to be done, but also being a part of the activity. Running to go pick, my man, I gotta go pick up sweet potatoes for wifey, man. I can't do that.
Yes, yeah.
And that, what? Come on, man. I gotta pick up the sweet potatoes for wifey.
He got to pick up the sweet potatoes for wifey. He is in the trenches with me. We are a team. Please believe me when I tell you that.
And that's very important.
It
so
is.
as we get ready to get out of here, let's talk about the person, the lady, the baker, the daughter.
The baker, the daughter, the fiance.
The fiance. What is her personal goal? I want to know your one personal goal to close out 224.
Now,
2024.
Talking about a personal goal in life?
Not life, just for you as an individual.
As an individual.
The individual, because the pie is a part of you.
Yeah, the pie is definitely a part of me.
The pie is your baby. But for you, as we get ready to close this year out, well, we just started the year, but you blink of an eye, the year's over.
Right. Yeah.
What will be your number one closeout for you going into 2025?
As I entered into this new year, I thought about what is it that I want to do more than anything else that has nothing to do with money. And I'm going to tell you what it is. Wherever I go, and no matter what I do, I want to create impact. Simple. That's the guiding force that's the guiding force of all my choices, to create impact. That's it. No matter what I do, I want to create impact, whether it's with the pies, whether it's whatever God-given gift, abilities that I have to create impact wherever I go.
You know what? That's amazing, because I knew you had something in that rim, because I know the difference between a money grab and love.
Yeah.
This is love. This is
love.
not a grab.
Yeah.
So the grab is going to come.
Right.
But the fact that your impact, you're so focused on making an impact and not make a dollar, takes you even further in life, because a lot of us just chasing a dollar.
Right. And we don't have to.
You can say that, but some people feel like they have the need to.
True.
Because they say, well, what I'm going to just do it for? They don't understand sometimes doing it from the heart is better than doing it for the dollar.
Right.
The dollar come. You don't have to chase the dollar. Dollar chase you.
Yeah, it will. You don't have to chase, you attract.
Exactly. But the question is the patience. And I feel like with you, your patience level, your love, your peace of mind, and your interest for the other people that you're dealing with is going to take you so far that it's going to be some major things taking place for you in the future.
I believe that. I really believe that. I believe that doors will be open that I don't even see yet.
Because you're walking by faith and not by sight.
Because I'm walking by faith and not by sight. And my intentions are always pure.
You know what? On that note, we don't have too many of that going on.
Yeah.
Because we spoke about this off camera.
Right.
How a lot of intentions are just to take.
Gimme.
And then,
Right.
You're not doing that. Mm-mm. You're giving.
Giving, right. Giving and moving with wisdom, right? Giving and moving with wisdom and discernment. That's key.
That's very key.
That's key.
So let the culture know where they can find you, get in contact with you with.
Absolutely. You
Let
can
them
find
know.
me on Instagram, thank you very much. You can find me on Instagram at Simply Secunda, and you can also find me on Instagram at Simply Secunda Baking.
Not on Facebook?
On Instagram. You can also find me, right, thank you for that. You can find me on Facebook at Simply Secunda, and I'll make sure that, you have all my information.
Right.
But we'll make sure all the people have it, too.
Exactly.
So they can find me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank
It's been
you.
incredible.
I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you.
I thank you for the opportunity.
I
thank you for believing in me.
for the opportunity.
You have to, before we close out, I need you to close out with something very special that someone wrote you. Because I read it yesterday.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I kind of shedded a tear somewhat when wow, that was...
Very special.
Yeah, that was very special. And it was heartfelt.
Yes.
Can you
very
read that
much
to the
so.
culture for us?
I do not have my phone.
Let me grab my phone.
Okay.
I have it.
Okay.
I have it.
All right, great.
Because
Yeah.
I felt like that was very key.
Yes.
and
I'm
very
so happy you
important.
reminded me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it really, really was. I had no idea that it was a complete and total surprise. So I am reading a review poem, right, from someone I am very fond of. Her name is Ray Reeves. She is a member of the Black Resource Group, and she is extremely supportive. Thank you to Ray. I just want to look at the camera when I say it.
Let Ray
Thank
know.
you so much, Ray. I appreciate you more than words can even show. Okay, so here I go. She wrote this poem in response to my pie.
Exactly. And what pie did she get?
She got the traditional, the classic sweet potato pie. And this was a post. She did a review, and she posted it on the Black Resource Network. In the clandestine confines of your kitchen, a sweet potato sorcery unfolds. The crust orchestrates a buttery symphony while the spice blend hosts a covert flavor party, an invitation unbeknownst to my taste buds. What? Oh my God. Part 2. Your sweet potato pies, a cryptic delight, immersed into a flaky enigma. There's a mystifying magic at play, enchanting my senses in ways beyond comprehension. Oh my God.
Wow.
I raise my fork to you. Cheers with each slice of this sweet delight where the aromatic, home-style, velvety, and nostalgic nuances intertwine.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Blown away.
Yeah. That's not the average write-up.
No. Thank you so much, Ray. I love you, appreciate you so much. Yeah.
That's a blessing right there.
A blessing.
I
was in tears.
I had to close that out.
Yes,
with that.
yeah. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, it was very important. Listen, you know who it is. It's the voice of the culture. I'm sitting here with, you heard it first, the Queen, Queen Baker, Queen B. I'm giving her Queen B for the Queen Baker. You know what I mean? And I'm just so blessed and fortunate to sit down with her. Listen, she gave you all the information. If you didn't get it, you can hit my Instagram. I can relay it to you. Tell her I sent you. And it's the voice of the culture. We'll be back with another great episode. We out of here. Thank you again. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I am so grateful.
I'm grateful too. You know who it is. It's your boy. Salute. I'm gone.